friends, how are you? It's a little bit later than I usually record these, but my schedule is so wacky right now, which I'll talk to you about in a minute. I have water today. I had a lot of coffee earlier, and I'll explain why that's all going on in a second. But for the time being, I just had lunch and I'm kind of decompressing before my next class. So it's funny because I went to record this and I looked at the title of last week's show, which was Stress or Divine Mercy in Times of Stress, I believe. I could name this show the exact same thing. Not a lot has changed in some ways, but I'm just trying to, I guess, make my focus a positive one. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So, what's going on with me? The fall semester started here on Monday. It has been insane. I don't even know exactly how to describe it, but I'm teaching 15 unique sections of what we're calling a library lab for the English composition course here. So the content isn't unique to each class in a single week, but it's a unique group of students. So it's a lot of work. The teaching load is a grind. I knew that it was going to be something I was unprepared for because I've never taught this much before, and it has really exceeded that expectation. I have 8 a.m. sections on Monday and Wednesday. And yesterday, which was Wednesday, so one of my 8 a.m. days, I was filling in for a few of my colleagues that had important medical appointments, which I was very happy to do. But that made it so that I had 5 classes yesterday rather than 3, and 17 on the week. That's a lot of teaching for me. And with it being a different group of students in each class, that's well over 300 potential problems that could come to me in a given week via email. And whenever I need to change something in our online portion of the course where we house all the course materials, so it may just be a simple thing. You need to go in, but you have to click, say, 7 times to get the problem fixed. I have to do that 15 times. It's very time consuming. And so I've really been struggling this week with getting used to this transition. It's going well. I really do enjoy teaching. And earlier in the week, I was nervous because I felt a little rusty. I hadn't taught in a while. And so I still get nervous before I teach, even though I teach and perform regularly. Today, I didn't sweat a drop. I'm like, hey, how you doing? And because I've really gotten used to it. And that's a very positive thing. I think that my teaching style is only improving and I'm getting more and more comfortable. I'm really happy with that. I think anything that we do from here on out involving teaching is going to be a breeze because of the heightened load that we're under for this fall. Those are all good. But it's very, very draining. Like I said, it's the same for a given week. It's going to be the same lesson 15 times, or if I'm studying a couple more, 16, 17, whatever. But it's a little bit different for each one. Like my Monday students don't have class next week because it's Labor Day and there's no classes here on Labor Day. So I had to do some slightly different things for them. And then as the week wore on, I'll see all those students next week, but it was a little bit different because some of them I see before their English lecture, some of them I see after, some of them hadn't even had their English class yet. Now the students I'm seeing now towards the end of the week have, and they were a little more integrated. They know more about what their individual instructor is going to have them do, so they had different questions. And yeah, so I'm just kind of customizing along as I go in small ways as I can. I haven't even met all of the faculty members that teach the English lectures. I can't even keep track of who I've met, who I haven't. I barely remember what day it is. My Thursday students, there's something kind of wacky that happened with the Tuesday-Thursday scheduling. And so I had to just explain that to them. And I remembered on Tuesday, and I was halfway through my first Thursday morning class today, and I thought, oh, is today Thursday? I need to remember to tell them. And I'll forget, like, did I tell you guys about EndNote yet? And they all look at me like this. There's a blink. What? I'm like, okay, I haven't told you yet. So it's very difficult for me to remember because they are all very similar, although not exactly the same, what I have said to whom. I don't really like it, I'm going to be honest. I think that the volume is a little bit of an issue. I don't think that it's doing the students as good a service as we could if we had a smaller number that we could then actually manage better, where we could try to remember their names and work with each individual English instructor. Like I said, right now, I don't even remember which ones I've already spoken to. I haven't run into all of them yet because we don't necessarily cross paths between the lab and the lecture. And so I just feel like the volume is too high. But for this fall, we have no choice. It's brand new. They put more sections in for various reasons, and so we just have to do our best with it. But I'm hoping that in future semesters it's a little bit easier because I'm really tired and I feel like I'm forgetting lots of things, and I really I want to serve my students as best I can because that's not just my job, but it's very important to me personally. And so I don't want to always be asking them what their name is. And did I already tell you this? Did you already do that? Is today Wednesday? It's kind of hard to manage because of the sheer number. So we're doing the best we can. But as a result, I've been under a lot of stress this week, and I've just been doing the very best that I can to manage it work-wise, and I'm doing the best that I can to manage it kind of personally, I guess, and emotionally. I'm trying to relax a lot at home, but I then feel like I'm really distracted at home and like I'm not giving Mike and the kids enough attention. But I'm so tired. I think it's going to get easier. This is the first week, and so there's a lot of adjusting to be done. We are in class teaching next week, and then the students have online modules for 2 weeks in mid and late September, which is going to be very needed. Then we'll have a long in-person push at the end of September and throughout October. But I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm just looking at the first 2 weeks, and then we get a little break, and then we'll just invigorate from there. So it's not easy. I'm just feeling guilty all the time, like I'm not giving 100% to any one area of my life because I can't concentrate on anything. And last night I was trying to get some Scentsy stuff together, and Anne was helping me, and it was really nice. And I hadn't gotten to see her that morning, or Henry either, because I left so early because I have class at 8 a.m. and they weren't up yet. School hasn't started here yet. It starts next week. And so I really wanted to give the kids some extra attention, and I was just so distracted. Anne was trying to talk to me, and I'm trying to finish something for the Scentsy thing, and like I interrupted her because she interrupted me, and like, just let mommy think for a minute. I can't think. My thoughts are just so scattered, and I don't like that. But I'm just going to try to push through and do what I can. So the other things that I've been doing, prayer has been non-existent to very little, but I've just been trying. I just figure God knows I'm trying, and I'm just trying. So in the mornings, I've been pretty much sticking with that Divine Mercy chaplet. I have prayed the rosary. Well, I've started a rosary, and if I have enough energy in the car on the way home, I finish, but sometimes I don't. But I figure even if I just start it in the morning, so I'll pray I'm untangling a rosary while I talk. I'll pray the initial prayers and 2 or 3 decades, depending on how traffic is. And even if that's all I get to that day, right now, that's okay. I feel like that is what my mind is able to focus on, and I think that that's good. Sometimes, like this morning, I prayed the Divine Mercy Chaplet, and then I can get through the whole thing in the morning. And I'm using, because it's September 1st. Happy September 1st. I love September 1st. I know fall doesn't officially start to the end of the month, but I consider this the beginning of fall. And I love fall. So I'm wearing orange, and I'm like all happy. And I pull out the orange rosary beads. So this is what I call my pumpkin spice rosary, and I love it because it's green and orange, and it has a mother and child centerpiece. It's one of my very, very favorite rosaries. And Allison actually has this in the shop right now if you would like one for your very own self. I'll put a link in the show notes to this exact rosary. So that has been lovely. I've been loving that. I'm also going to pull the trigger on a prayer journal. They won't start until I believe the beginning of the liturgical year, which is in late November, start of Advent. But I think I'm going to put the order in, and that makes me feel better that I'm going to have that to kind of focus my thoughts more later on in the fall. So I mentioned that Living with Christ journal last week, And that one is actually available through Amazon. If you have Prime, you can get free shipping on it. It says it's still available for pre-order, but the date for release is today. And sometimes that happens with pre-orders with Amazon on print things, print books. And usually it'll, I don't know, within a couple of days, all of a sudden it becomes available and then it ships. But you can put the pre-order in and it's $8.95. If you have Prime shipping, you don't pay for shipping plus sales tax. So I think I'm going to order that one for sure because I know Sam ordered that one and I want the same one as her because I'm a nerd like that and I like to have with my friends, like we share things like that, and it makes me feel closer to them if I don't actually physically live close to them in real life. So I'm happy about that. While I was perusing Amazon, I found another prayer journal and it's put out by Word Among Us and it's called I Will Praise Your Name Forever. And it looked a little different from what Living with Christ was going to offer because it had, I want to say there was like additional scripture quotes and reflections and maybe saint tie-ins. And yeah, so I'm looking at both. Maybe I'll just get both, but I'm definitely going to get the Living with Christ one, which I believe is focused on the daily gospel and then, room for you to write in things. So I'm going to put links to both of those things in the show notes if you would like to look at them, and maybe get yourself a prayer journal for 2017. So that's kind of it right now. Looking at my clock, it's 1:44 for me right now in the afternoon. I have a class at 2:50. And then I've got to stop at the post office on the way home to mail some Happy Scentsy Scent Fairy things. And then I've got to go home. Mike is making dinner, God bless him. And I'm going to be spending some time with him and the kids. He has rehearsal tonight for his play. And I'm meeting a friend for a drink, which I'm looking forward to, but I'm dreading at the same time. It's an introvert thing, just because I'd rather stay home. I'm so tired. But I know I'll be glad I went because I could use the break. But I want to spend good, undistracted time with Mike and the kids tonight. And I think sometimes when we go through these really stressful stretches, sometimes you just need to focus on the small things, like have a goal for that day. And if it's pray half a rosary and not pick up my phone, and I don't want to see any notifications between 5 o'clock and like 7 o'clock when I meet my friend Michelle, maybe that's my goal, that I just focus on them, And then that's just, I think, a manageable way of dealing with a really busy and stressful time. What are your ways, small ways of dealing with really stressful times? Are you planning on using a prayer journal coming up? Ooh, that reminds me. I need to renew my Magnificat subscription, so I'm going to write that down in terms of other devotionals. But what are your little suggestions for dealing with stretches like this? I'd love to hear it, even if we've already talked, because I know we've talked about stress a couple times in the past few weeks. You may have already told me a few things, but they bear repeating. Yeah, so we can talk about it again. I think that's a good thing. Sometimes you just need extra reminders, and then it's like, oh yeah, I want to do that, and it's like that little extra oomph you need to make that happen. So I look forward to hearing from you. This is a little bit shorter than usual, but I'm wordy, so sometimes shorter is a good thing. But it's just one of those weeks, we're just trying to push on. But I'm glad that I could touch base with you all this week. I look forward to talking to you in the comments, and I will see you all next week. Have a wonderful Labor Day long weekend if you have one, and I'll talk to you mid next week. I love you all. Talk to you then. Bye.